Well, I hope to God that eventually we find out that maybe Caitlin Clark was asked to do this and maybe she said no. Because if that's not the case, then the WNBA and the Players Association, the WNBA PA, and the league, to be honest, continue to disrespect the far and away biggest draw that this women's hoops league's got that they've ever seen.
Imagine being the star of the league, setting records, filling stadiums, only to be overlooked for a major merch drop like you're just some rookie. That's exactly what happened. The WNBA Players Union chose AJA Wilson and Angel Reese over Caitlin Clark, and the internet is losing it. Is this a strategic flex, some behind-the-scenes drama, or just a PR misstep disguised as team unity? Either way, grab your popcorn, because this situation is heating up faster than a courtside seat at a Liberty game.
Jealousy and sheer incompetence are going to be the three main reasons why the WNBA never reaches the popularity, never reaches the shine that they think they deserve. Stubbornness, incompetence, and jealousy are going to be the reasons why Caitlin Clark remains at the mountaintop and nobody else ends up even being close to joining her up there. And it's all the WNBA, the players, the executives, Kathy Engelbert. It is all their fault. They're far too jealous. They're far too stubborn. And from a business sense, they are all far too incompetent. What am I talking about?
They could have easily handed Caitlin Clark the crown, the throne, and a warehouse stacked with sold-out merch. But instead, they went full spectacle, the kind that basically shouted, "We'd rather go down with the ship than let her take the wheel." When the WNBA Players Union unveiled their flashy new merch campaign and just happened to leave out the league's biggest draw, maybe ever, it wasn't about marketing. It was about making a point. And the time? Oh, it wasn't endorsement o'clock. It was petty o'clock, served with a heavy dose of fake unity.
Their biggest draw, their biggest revenue churner, the biggest ratings, viewership draw, attendance draw, the whole, if it's a draw, Caitlin Clark's bringing them in droves, and lined up to come in the door. I'm awaiting a record, some kind of a record rating for her return the other day against the Liberty. I'm awaiting for that viewership rating to come in for television. I got a question. If you were going to market a product and the WNBA was going to be officially involved in it, would Caitlin Clark not be the number one overall draft pick that you would have? Well, to the Players Association and the people involved with it, I guess not. And this is baffling to me. It's terrible business. It is failed business one.
Let's set the record straight. Caitlin Clark didn't decline the offer. She didn't ignore anyone, and she definitely wasn't too busy sinking logo threes or signing baby honuses. The truth? She was never even invited. Because let's be real, if she had been part of that merch launch, her collection would have sold out before most people finished their morning coffee. As for the others, their merch might have sat around online like that one lonely gum flavor no one ever picks.
WNBA Players Union chooses Angel Reese over Caitlin Clark in social media posts. Now, to be fair to Angel Reese, it wasn't just Angel Reese. It was everybody not named Caitlin Clark. It was everybody the old guard thinks is a star, not named Caitlin Clark. This is absolutely pathetic, absolutely embarrassing, and we are going to show you why momentarily. WNBA's Players Union chooses Angel Reese over Caitlin Clark in social media post originally appeared on Athlon Sports. Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark and Chicago Sky forward Angel Reese have not exactly had fortunate starts to the 2025 WNBA season.
And that's where the real issue lies. It's not that Caitlin Clark is too polarizing or too new to the league, it's that she's too successful. Her jersey's flying off the shelves like it's exclusive Beyoncé merch. She's packing arenas, boosting viewership, and making the league more visible than ever. From a PR standpoint, great. Financially, even better. But emotionally, that's where it gets messy. Because if her merch sells out instantly while everyone else's gathers virtual cobwebs, the message stops being about unity and starts being about reality. And that's the truth they'd rather not face.
I'm just in shock. I'm in shock. So you've got a lot of the biggest names in the entire WNBA here. You've got Aja, you've got Kelsey Plum, you've got Paige Beckers, you've got Angel Reese, you've got Fee, you've got Cameron Brink, you've got Sabrina. So you've got a lot of the bigger names, if not the biggest names. The biggest names in the entire WNBA right here. And who's not there? It's Caitlin Clark. If you guys have not seen this right here, FM cases and the WNBPA. The WNBPA. So this is 3 days old. I got sent this email today. I actually, in fairness, I did see a tweet, not including the most popular player. This is how much they hate Caitlin misspelled.
So instead of embracing the rising force that could elevate the entire league, they acted like the wave wasn't even there. Genius, right? It's like throwing a pizza party and leaving out the cheese because you're worried the crust might feel overshadowed. Reality check. The crust isn't the flavor. Caitlin is the flavor. And the league just tried to spin the narrative that flavor doesn't matter if it's not politically convenient. Let's be clear, this isn't about race, dunking ability, or highlight reels. It's about what happens when someone breaks the mold, bypasses the gatekeepers, and rewrites the story through talent, relentless grind, and logo range accuracy. The problem? The establishment didn't know how to handle someone who didn't follow their script. It's not that they didn't see Caitlin Clark coming, it's that they hoped she wouldn't arrive. And now that she has, they are stumbling through every opportunity to support her impact without having to admit she's changing the game. So what's their move? Apparently, it's silent sidelining dressed up as unity. Call it passive-aggressive exclusion with a dash of corporate fear. Yes, AJA Wilson and Angel Reese got the spotlight, and they absolutely deserve recognition. They are talented, magnetic, and beloved by fans.
They've the exact abuse that they're giving Caitlin Clark right now to Sabrina Ionescu. Like, let's be real, you can look, you read what some of these things have said about Sabrina Ionescu before Caitlin Clark walked in the league, but now they have the new bully victim. And it's so funny looking at it where you're like, all these, it's so clear that these people, it's just an anti-Caitlin people, because it's like an enemy of my enemy is my friend, where it's like they are these individual pages where you look at the players they hype up, and Paige Beckers, and by the way, by all accounts, Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark are friends. They'll have their profile's Angel Reese, and the players they're going to hype up is Paige Beckers because she is a rival to Caitlin Clark. And let's be real, that's an actual rivalry. Paige Beckers is really damn good.
Let's not kid ourselves. This decision wasn't random. It was a calculated move to keep the merch game looking balanced, even if it meant sidelining the one player who could have outsold the rest combined. Because apparently, the league can't stomach the idea of a rookie white girl from Iowa turning everyone else's numbers into clearance rack territory. But this isn't just a missed marketing opportunity, it's a reflection of the league's deeper insecurities. They say they want growth, attention, and revenue, but only if it fits their playbook. And Caitlin Clark? She tossed that playbook, lit it on fire, and kept scoring. She didn't just show up, she exposed the system by accident. And now, instead of riding the momentum, they are busy trying to sink the whole ship while still smiling for the cameras. It's like a game of chess where someone flips the board mid-match and still claims victory. The league can dress this up in buzzwords like diversity and representation, but fans saw what it really was. You don't bench your MVP in the name of inclusion. That's not strategy, that's sabotage wearing a socially acceptable disguise. And let's not ignore the subtext. If this were truly about fairness, Caitlin Clark would have been front and center, recognized for the powerhouse she is. But what we got was a quiet message. You can shine, just not too brightly, not too soon, and definitely not too loudly. It's the same old song, just on a new stage.
Caitlin Clark had another, whatever you want to call it, confrontation in a WNBA game. Like, why is this happening? The Caitlin Clark phenomenon is one that I got wrong. I never really thought that Caitlin Clark would make the difference that she has in college basketball or in the WNBA. What other sports analogies are out there that are in any way similar to the impact that one individual has had on a larger sporting universe? Tiger was...
Be great, but don't outshine the vets. Break records, Just don't make too much noise about it. Sell out arenas, but make sure no one feels overshadowed. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark keeps showing up, grinning, and draining threes from the parking lot. She's the storm they can't outrun, and instead of embracing it, they are slapping on PR band-aids trying to contain the impact. Honestly, it's almost comical, like someone denying a fire while standing in front of a burning scoreboard. And with every game she dominates, the silence from certain corners only grows louder. Not because she's wrong, but because she's unignorable. The real twist? This snub didn't shrink her, it supercharged her. What was probably meant to minimize her presence has become a textbook lesson in how not to handle your biggest star. Fans took notice. Sponsors took notice. The media? Loud and clear. The only ones still acting oblivious are the very people who thought this quiet exclusion would go unnoticed, like a missed layup. Spoiler alert, it didn't. It slammed right back in their faces. Instead of making smart business moves, the WNBA is playing identity politics over dollars and common sense. Rather than ride the once-in-a-generation wave Caitlin created, they are busy handing out participation trophies and pretending we don't see the difference between hype and hard-earned success. As if we can't check jersey sales, ticket numbers, or watch her change the game in real time. So let's just be honest, this wasn't a mistake, or a scheduling fluke. It was intentional. And the message was crystal clear. You can break records, but don't expect to break in unless it's on their terms, at their speed, and in their image.
I don't know what exact... So one play with people in the seats you don't include. It genuinely seems like everybody going mad about this. So this only started happening around the last day. But at the end of the day, look, the WNBPA can do whatever they want, I guess. And if this case is with the WNBPA, as far as I'm aware, players' rights are not done separately. I think the WNBPA come to an agreement, can come to like mass agreements like what they did with NBA 2K. With this saying it was an agreement with the WNBPA, knowing how the negotiations work with NBA 2K, with the players' associations and stuff, and again, I could be very wrong with this, but I don't think this is something that'll be on an individual by individual basis. I hope I'm wrong.
Caitlin Clark didn't follow the script. She rewrote it. And that's exactly why she's been sidelined from a campaign she should have been leading. If she had been included, the sales would have spoken for themselves, and that truth would have made a few egos very uncomfortable. So instead, they treated her success like a glitch, as if she just stumbled into the league and accidentally gained 1 million fans. But Caitlin didn't trip over success. She tripped over the fragility of a system built to protect the status quo. And here's the thing, fans aren't fooled. They know who's delivering. They know who's shifting the culture. They see the talent, the charisma, the range, the fire. No carefully curated rollout or manipulated narrative can hide the fact that Caitlin Clark is the moment. The league has a choice, embrace her, or keep dropping the ball. Because right now, she might as well look overseas, where her impact would be valued instead of dimmed. The WNBA has made one thing painfully clear, they are not ready for her kind of shine. And the worst part? The most electrifying, record-breaking, ticket-selling phenomenon they've ever seen is being treated like a backup act, while the spotlight gets handed to two of the league's most forced, least resonant faces of the future.
Her first game back against the Liberty, where she scored 25 points in the first half, had LeBron James tweeting about her, and also sending her direct messages, apparently. They beat the Liberty, who was previously undefeated, 9-0. The game Saturday afternoon on ABC, and 21 million people watched the game. Now, according to Nielsen, that is the most watched WNBA game. Now, this all comes on the heels of ratings being down, viewership being down 55%. I want to get this exactly right. I have this all written down here. Lucky for you guys. So this story broke last week, but I want to weave it all in as we talk about this topic. Nationally televised WNBA viewership is down 55% since Caitlin Clark's injury.
And yes, let's call it what it is. We're talking about AJA Wilson and Angel Reese, the WNBA's attempt at manufacturing star power. Two players who, through relentless media exposure and courtside theatrics, have managed to generate more eye rolls than actual applause. So when the WNBA Players Union had the chance to launch a merch campaign that could have skyrocketed sales, who did they go with? the duo whose jerseys struggle to sell even in their home states. It's honestly impressive how committed they are to ignoring the obvious. Caitlin Clark isn't just popular. She's the most talked about athlete in America right now. Yes, more than the NBA dunkers, NFL quarterbacks, or those guys doing faux humble interviews for glossy magazines.
She is the moment. She's the culture. She's the algorithm.
She's the name your grandma knows, even if she couldn't tell you what WNBA stands for.
What happens when a white girl joins a majority black league? Her coming to the league brings more viewers, more ad money. The Caitlin Clark tide is going to, if embraced, rise all boats. The majority in the league, which is black women, has done everything they can to not welcome Caitlin Clark to the league.
But instead of welcoming the meteor lighting up their otherwise dull sky, the league keeps tying itself to players who spark online debates more than they sell tickets. Why isn't Caitlin Clark in that merch drop? Simple. Because if she were, no one else's gear would move. That's not an opinion, it's basic economics. If you put Caitlin's merch next to everyone else's, theirs would look like leftovers at a rainy day garage sale.
She wasn't excluded because she wasn't interested.
She was left out because her success is too big, too loud, too real, and way too inconvenient for those clinging to control. It's almost poetic how the WNBA keeps tripping over itself just to make a point nobody asked for. They could be riding this wave. They could plaster Caitlin's face on every billboard, lunchbox, and commercial and finally cash in on the kind of buzz they've been chasing for years. But no, pride over profit, ego over evolution, politics over popularity. They'd rather risk stagnation than thrive with Caitlin leading the charge. Let's be real, this isn't about fairness. It's about protecting fragile egos from what real merit looks like. Because if Caitlin's merch outsold everyone else's 10-1, which it would, that wouldn't just spotlight her star power. It would shine a glaring light on how broken the league's priorities have been. And instead of saying, wow, maybe she is the future, they are choosing to act like she's just a momentary trend with a good shooting form. Bold strategy.
WNBA guys, because they are allowing this to happen, the key to this whole thing was having the girls act professional and having the media do a cover for them. Well, what happens when the girls are coming out of script? What happens when the black people sitting courtside at the Atlanta Dream game, right? Don't see a problem with how hard Caitlin Clark is getting fouled and they yelling, "This is Atlanta. This is Atlanta. You ain't gonna come in here and do that." What happens when Angel Reese scores 2 points, right? 8 offensive rebounds on her own missed shot, 12 rebounds total. What's happening when the people decide to...
It'd be funny if it weren't so painfully obvious, like watching a restaurant refuse to serve its best dish because it makes the soup look bland. AJ Wilson is a solid player, sure. Angel Reese grabs attention, though often for the wrong reasons. But trying to force likability while treating the most beloved athlete in the country like a problem? That's a whole new level of denial. Caitlin Clark didn't barge in demanding the spotlight. She earned it. Yet the WNBA's marketing strategy seems to be pretending mediocrity is a feature and denying the obvious, like trying to convince people water isn't wet.
And fans? They see everything.
Stadiums sell out when Caitlin's on the schedule.
Ratings spike when she steps on the court.
Even her critics can't look away. She's not just a player. She's the engine powering attention, revenue, and relevance. And yet, the league keeps tripping her up like they are in a game of Mario Kart, flinging banana peels instead of figuring out how to grow the game. It's self-sabotage disguised as strategy, and everyone watching can see it.
Presence, just being there, change them. That's it. Like, you can sit here and come up with 1,000 different reasons for why. Here's one why. That makes two. One why, one why, one why. And it's Caitlin Clark. She is the why. She is the reason. She is the box office. She is the game changer. She is that woman. She is her. Her performance.
The irony here is almost unbelievable. The WNBA has spent years asking for visibility, support, and to be taken seriously. Now they finally have that, but because it came wrapped in a sharpshooting, no drama, white girl from Iowa with once-in-a-generation talent, they are treating it like a problem. Like her success is somehow too much.
Like winning too convincingly might hurt the brand.
If this league were being run like a serious business, Caitlin Clark would already have signature merchandise, a shoe line, and a marketing campaign that didn't look like it needed crowdfunding. Instead, she's being excluded from basic league promos, all because her dominance risks making the rest look average. Let's be real. This isn't about fair representation, it's about fear. Fear that the carefully crafted narrative they've tried to control for years is being rewritten by someone who didn't wait for permission to be great. But here's the twist they didn't see coming. Snubbing Caitlyn doesn't shrink her impact. It just turns up the volume on how ridiculous it all is.
Fans are still packing the arenas. The cameras still follow her. The analysts have to talk about her.
Because numbers don't lie, and neither do the crowds. And every time someone asks why she's not included in a campaign, the WNBA's response gets more awkward than a locker room after a 30-point blowout.
Maybe that's why they're thinking. But it's like, listen, Caitlin Clark is a big pop for you guys. She's selling out stadiums. You guys are moving to different areas to play bigger stadiums so you can fit some more people. Why don't the WNBA players accept that, right? And then it puts a shine. Caitlin Clark, you could say, is just a catalyst, right? She's just a little stone that's shining brightly.
Steph Curry of the WNBA.
Right, it's shining brightly.
Maybe the answer really is overseas, somewhere her talent won't be buried under league politics. In Europe, merch moves because of demand, not diplomacy. And the top player on the court isn't treated like an unwelcome guest at her own celebration. Because right now, the WNBA is willfully fumbling the biggest gift it's ever been handed. And the longer they keep sidelining Caitlin Clark, the more absurd they look.
She's the reason merchandise is flying off the shelves. The reason people are tuning in.
The reason arenas are packed with families and teenagers who couldn't name a single WNBA player a year ago. She's the reason the league is finally part of the mainstream sports conversation. And if they can't, or won't, give her the respect she's earned here, there's a whole world ready to roll out the red carpet. Because at the end of the day, it's hard to sell a revolution when your most valuable player is being treated like she's lucky just to be on the roster.